Greetings everyone, welcome to this advance, and this game is going to be an epic one because this was played in 1966, and with the white pieces we have the magician of Riga. We have the one who enforced romantic chess into the world, and he's also a world champion. We have the magician Mikhail, and against him is a player who he won the world championship from. We have Mikhail Botvinnik, and this is going to be one epic matchup. So without further ado, let's start with this game. Tal starts with e4 first. Now we have c6 by Botvinnik. Botvinnik is going for the Caro-Kann defense. We have d4 and d5. We have e captures the exchange variation, and if you go for e5, there's a very nice line. If you must know, hey, bishop to f5, you go for, then there's knight to f3, and you have to play the move e6. But have you ever wondered why you have to play the move e6? Well, there was a very nice game I found actually, and the opponent did not go for e6, he goes for h6. And now in this position there was a very nice move order, knight to h4, and now once the bishop moves, you play e6 yourself. And now you have to understand, if you capture, then the queen is entering into the position. Your position is going to be very, very bad. If you push, again, you're just getting checkmated. Otherwise just severe material loss. So, and honestly, white would be loving its position. If I get this position against anyone, I would be loving it. So do try this out in your own games as well. But here after d5, we have e captures going for the exchange variation, e captures c4, and just knight to f6. We have knight to c3, g6, and now just going for queen to b3. So definitely just choosing activity here. Tal is just trying to push those pieces just towards Botvinnik king, and he's there for an attack here. Bishop g7, but now just c captures castles and just knight g2. So Botvinnik's decision to not capture it, or to not overextend his pieces to be able to attack that pawn, maybe it could be a weakness, and maybe Tal could take advantage of that with the extra pawn. But how could you defend that extra pawn? You don't have any pawns here or here to defend it, and now you're gonna have to settle for just defending it with the pieces. But here, just knight to a6. Now you're gonna bring the knight to c7 and just have a triple attack towards it. So Tal is saying, well, there you go, g3. Now just going bishop to g2. Now that's going to be a defender as well. And in this position, if you play knight to c7, then just comes bishop to g2, rook to b8, castles, and your pawn is very well defended. Your center is all yours, and Tal would definitely love this position. And here after g3, that's why we have queen to b6 first, asking for a queen trade. So maybe here Botvinnik thinks that after the queens are exchanged, he might be able to have that recapture the pawn. Basically, once get the rooks into the game, knight goes there, and he will have a very fine game. There is no concerns. Here just queen captures, we have a captures, but now just comes this bishop to g2 and just knight to b4. So definitely Botvinnik is trying to recapture that pawn, getting the rook into the game as well. Castles here, rook to d8, and just d6. Now Tal happily gives away, saying that, well, if you want the pawn, well, just you should have said so. Here I've just doubled your pawn structure. I'm just creating a third pawn island, and your pawn structure is going to be ruined. I'm going to have a lovely position here. And if you go for rook caps on d6, it's a fine move, but the trouble is bishop to f4 comes in, that comes with the tempo. So I've just developed with the free tempo, and now you have to move the rook. Where do you move the rook? If you go to d8, I just go to c7, and after rook to d7, I just capture the pawn. So that could be a thing. And even if you go here, from the beginning, those pawns are going to be weak. So somewhere along the line, I'll be able to capture them. It's not that much of an advantage. It's only 0.9, but Tal knows how to convert 0.9 by sacrificing pieces and getting a better position. So he knows he's the master of mystic arts. But here after d6, we have e captures, but now just comes bishop to g5, and there is a pin, and now you have to be a little bit careful. Rook to e8 was played, but now just comes a3, pushing the knight back, knight to c6, and rook f to e1. So now definitely Tal is definitely enjoying his position. His pieces are very active, and that's what he craves most. He likes activity because then he's able to actually sacrifice pieces and creates masterpieces. And here just bishop to g4, but now just comes bishop captures, and knight to d5. And here you have to be a little careful. Bishop to d8 was the one that was played in this position, because you have to defend the pawn, otherwise but it also disconnects your rook, so you have to be a little bit careful. Here knight e to c3 was played, and you can see that the knight on the center of the board is an absolute monster. And with those knights on the center of the board, you have to understand the position just becomes very, very weak for Botvinnik. Maybe trading would have been a decent move. Here just rook captures was played, and here just rook to a5, just putting some pressure. But this rook to a5 is a complete blunder in this position. So I'm going to ask you to pause the video, try and find out the only winning move in this position that wins the game right on the spot. So have at it. So congratulations to everyone who's able to find this move, and it's the one which is obvious, but the continuation is not that much. Here rook to e8 check is the move that wins the game for Tal immediately. But the thing is that after king to g7, it doesn't seem that obvious. What do you do in this position? How am I going to do anything here? The trouble is, you're just attacking the bishop, and the defender is only one. So you want to be able to just attack that knight, so you can just pick up the piece, and you want to be able to do it with one tempo less. Well, thankfully in this position you have this very nice knight to e3 resource hitting the bishop. And now even if you go for bishop to d7 attacking the rook, now just comes bishop captures, and if you capture here, I just capture here, so that would be a terrible blunder. So bishop caps on e8, but after bishop captures, you have to understand I have two pieces for the rooks. I'm up pawns, my knight is going to be jumping in the center. With the bishop and the rook, you cannot constrict my pieces. pieces, and you have to understand that this rook is not at a decent square. Even if it was a decent square against two pieces, it holds no value here in this position. So that's why that was completely losing, and if Tal had spotted it, it would have been just game over. He did, but he played the first with a different move order. He played knight to e3 first, and now Botvinnik can actually just get his pieces back together, and maybe he can just save his game. But in Tal's presence, not really, because hey, just bishop to d7 was played, but now just comes this knight to c4 and attacking the rook. Where do you move the rook? Rook to e8 was played, but now just comes d5, and you can see the position is about to crumble. Knight to d4 was played, but now just comes knight captures. We have just rook to b8, knight to c4, and a very nice f6 in this position. But f6 just benefits me because it weakens the square, and immediately if someone plays f6, my mind just goes to d6, just having no squares for the bishop. You can see this is basically a pawn now. This bishop doesn't have any squares. Even if you ask for a trade in this position, if you go for bishop to e6, the position just completely falls apart, because you can see there is some trouble. You can see that you're defending it, but now just comes a rook captures on e6 nonetheless, because here after knight captures you have bishop to d5, and there is no clear way to save the knight. If you go for this, then just comes knight to b5, and you can see that I'm getting to the center of the board, and there is nothing that is preventing me. There are no pieces that can defend. You cannot even get the rook into the game, and with tempo your position just completely falls apart. And that's the thing that was there in the position. But Tal goes for knight to e4 instead, and now just king to f8, and now just h3. So definitely Tal playing with absolute perfection. I mean, no tricks here, no bluffs, just pure positional play and crushing Botvinnik at his own game. Here just knight to b3 was played, but just bishop to f1 and just b5 hitting the knight. Now just knight c to d6, we have f5 hitting the other knight, but here just rook to e3, saying that if you capture my knight, I'm just going to be capturing yours, and still you cannot destabilize that knight from there soon enough. So here just f captures, rook captures, and king to e7 was played, attacking the knight. Knight captures on e4, just grabbing a free pawn. Rook to c8, g4 was played, but here even with the bishop pair, Botvinnik is just rendered helpless. He can do nothing in this position because Tal is taking control of the driver's seat. Rook to c1 was played, but now just comes king to g2. We have rook to e1, f3 now defending everything, and this knight on the center of the board. Either way, you're gonna have to give up the light square bishop for it, and I don't think so you can do that here now. So the position is just very bad for Botvinnik. Rook to d1 was played, but just d6 check. Now king to f7, bishop caps on b5, just grabbing another pawn, and here bishop to e6, rook to c3 was played, rook to d4, rook to d3, and rook captures. Bishop captures. Still the position is very winning. You can see that Tal has 6 pawns while Botvinnik has just 3. Even with the bishop pair, you cannot hold this much. Here bishop to d5, now just comes knight to c5, b6, bishop to e4, and now just bishop to e6 was played, knight to d3, bishop to b3, and f4 was tried. But once Tal pushes those pawns, Botvinnik knows it's over, and it's just Tal is just waiting for him to resign. And this look on Botvinnik's face that that Tal, even after the World Chess Championship, with the positional play, he is still able to crush the most talented people of his time. So here just going for king to e6, but just f5 check, and it was on this move, on just move 45, that Mikhail Botvinnik resigned the game, and Tal, playing this game with absolute positional perfection, was able to get this win against Botvinnik in just 45 moves. That's absolutely exceptional, and Tal just absolutely crushed him. So yeah, thank you all for watching. I'll be coming back with games like these, so stay tuned to the channel, stay updated, and I'll be seeing you guys very soon. Thank you very much for watching.